Clash Royale has been around for more than 6 years now, and ever since its launch there have been tons of glitches out there just waiting to ruin someone's day. Today, we'll be looking at the biggest, most game-breaking glitches that have ever come to the arena. This is Clash Royale's history of glitches. Normally, Inferno towers are used to defend troops with high hit points that would on their own be nearly impossible to kill. Inferno towers could only be placed on your side of the arena and therefore used only as a defensive mechanism. However, this all changed sometime in 2016 when a player uncovered a game-changing exploit while playing Clash Royale one afternoon. He found out that if you cover all the spaces on your side of the arena with buildings and try placing an Inferno tower, it would appear right next to the opponent's tower, causing a devastating amount of damage to the enemy. This bug went on to become a huge exploit players would actively use to, let's just say, melt down their opponents. The next big glitch was found later that year, when several players started noticing that if you time your cards exactly right and place an ice golem next to an Expo, the Expo takes no damage, leaving the opponent completely defenseless. While this glitch was later patched by Supercell, it temporarily allowed a huge exploit for Expo players to use to their advantage. As it turned out, Expo wasn't the only card this invulnerability glitch worked on. A player by the name of Galba recorded an instance where a mini P.E.K.K.A was left undamaged by a rocket, and as you can see, it was right behind an ice golem. While Clash Royale glitches can give players a huge advantage in matches, sometimes they have been proven to backfire. The best example of this was shown on April 1st, 2016, when Expos started targeting the players' own towers. Seeing as this was patched the day after, many people suspect this may not have really been a glitch and just an April Fool's prank. Either way, it came as a huge surprise to millions of unsuspecting users. However, this wasn't the only time offensive buildings proved to be a disadvantage. Just 2 weeks later, a weird glitch was spotted where an Expo and mortar placed near the bridge remained frozen after taking down nearby troops instead of targeting the opponent's towers. This glitch left these unlucky players with a huge setback in the competitive match. Though 2017 and 2018 had their fair share of glitches, none were devastating enough to be considered as game-breaking as the ones seen in more recent years. Here's a quick reel we put together of some of the best glitches from these two lively years. Let's fast forward to 2019. You would think most bugs would be patched by now, but this only marked the start of some of Clash Royale's biggest glitches, including the one card and infinite skeleton exploits. As more game modes were introduced, a significant exploit was spotted in the touchdown mode. If you watch this clip carefully, you'll notice that right as the player gets a point, the opponent's goblin giant splits into 2 goblins right into the player's touchdown area. As the next round starts, the goblins stay in the game and give the user an instant touchdown. Totally unfair. Almost a month later, in February, an accidental glitch found its way into the spotlight when it was discovered that cards would get stuck behind the elixir pumps and end up stacking up. This led to players creating enormous pushes, the most popular option being Golem Night Witch. As you could guess, it was a pretty automatic 3 crown. On to 2020. Not everyone's favourite year, but definitely a good time for players that enjoy 2v2 matches. One of the biggest game-breaking glitches was uncovered in September of that year. It allowed players to leave all of their 8 slots empty, allowing for some really abusive card spamming. The most popular one involved just spamming healers. Since they kept healing themselves, it was pretty much unstoppable. If you thought that those were broken, stick around till you see the glitches spotted in 2021, as this was the year for game-breaking glitches. One of the more widespread bugs was the Fisherman Freeze glitch, which still has not been fixed yet. The glitch causes the player's Fisherman card to completely freeze after defeating enemy troops, instead of moving forward towards the enemy towers. No one likes E-barbs, but this next glitch, which appeared sometime between March and April of 2021, was definitely some abnormal card behavior. After defeating a Mega Knight, one of the E-barbs chose to completely leave his friend and go to the opposite side of the arena to cross the bridge. Or maybe his friend was just lame. One of the more controversial glitches that occurred in 2021 was the colored name glitch, where players were able to change their name color to anything they'd like. Though this feature seemed to be a fun and lively cosmetic to players, Supercell decided to remove it later in the year. We have no idea why it was removed, but it's probably because Supercell never intended on adding it in the first place, and it might have also been a little confusing to find players with all the letters in the front. Have you ever thought of having completely invisible troops? Well, in December of 2021, a player noticed that cloning an ice golem and battle ram when placed right behind the river glitched the cloned troops and turned them invisible to the opponent, allowing for an unexpected surprise attack on the enemy. me. Moving on. We all know that Skami is an ideal choice for any solid deck, but what if you could have infinite skeletons? In this 2v2 match, players were able to trap 2 witches behind the king towers. Cloning the troops allowed for a huge skeleton army on both sides of the arena, becoming an almost guaranteed win condition. This next glitch isn't nearly as useful, but still raised quite a few eyebrows. When this player tries to place spear goblins behind the king tower, the text that appears calls them bats. Next, a player discovered that by placing a bunch of buildings across your arena and then placing Royale recruits instantly teleports them to the end of the opponent's arena, giving you an instant touchdown point. Now that's what I call an easy win. Which brings us onto the final year, 2022. 2022's glitches have been more comedic from Supercell's side, though maybe this is intentional. It definitely makes for some funny moments in-game. In this clip, we notice a lone skeleton stuck dancing behind the king towers. Not sure what he's doing, but hopefully he's having fun. It's February 2022, and we have another deadly drop glitch. All this Clash Royale player wanted to do was drop a skeleton army to quickly kill the opponent's spear goblins. Weirdly enough, instead of a skeleton, a barbarian barrel drops instead. Luckily for them, a barb barrel was effective at destroying the enemy troops. But this glitch could be devastating to a player if they were trying to counter, say, a P.E.K.K.A. instead of just goblins. Most recently, when Supercell added a rework for the Prince and Dark Prince, enabling them to jump, an unintended and hilarious glitch was born. A video of 2 Dark Princes chasing each other across the river is the best thing to happen in 2022 so far, but who knows what Clash Royale has in store for us. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe and have a great day.